There is yet another twist now in the Hillary Clinton email investigation. State Department saying it cannot find many of the emails belonging to Brian Pagliano. He's the one who served as Hillary Clinton's IT manager at the State Department and set up the private server in Chappaqua, New York. They cannot say why many emails did not turn up, but they say they are still looking.
Is it conceivable that nothing he committed to email during the time he was here rose to the standard of a federal record?
I can't say on that. What I will say is the department's conducting a thorough search. At this stage, I just don't have any additional details to provide.
So what does this mean? John Bolton, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN and Fox News contributor in Chicago today. And sir, good morning to you and welcome back here. Apparently late last night, State Department said that some of his emails dating from Hillary Clinton's tenure had been recovered. So we'll see how many that is. What is the issue for you, sir? Go.
Well, I think there is one significant point here on this contradiction between what the Justice Department said to the court and what the State Department is now saying last night. And I just speak as an alumnus, former head of the Civil Division that represents agencies and departments in cases like this. When the Justice Department makes a representation to a court on the basis of what they're told, in this case by the State Department, and it turns out to be false, that is very serious. So if I were the Attorney General today, I'd have a bone to pick with John Kerry. But I think this confusion simply demonstrates the inept way that this entire email controversy has been handled by the State Department. I think you've now got federal judges in Washington in these FOIA cases who are getting increasingly dissatisfied with the department, and they're going to have issues with them that are going to cause, I think, real trouble for the department. What it says about the Clinton investigation, really, in my mind, is how far away it still is from a resolution. It is inconceivable that if Brian Pagliano was doing real State Department work while Secretary Clinton was at the department, they would have emails in the archives. And what it suggests to me is he may have been on the federal payroll but doing non-federal work. And that would be a serious point that might explain why Pagliano himself had potential criminal liability and why he agreed to an immunity deal with the FBI.
Okay, and that last point is a critical one. Apparently, according to some sources, he has been a, quote, devastating witness to Hillary Clinton. Did you follow that?
No, exactly. I mean, he would be able to say what he was told to do to set up the server, what he did to maintain the server, what he did to wipe the server, as we've heard. His testimony is more hands-on, likely, than almost anybody else. And he can also say who he was taking orders from, which is the way criminal investigations normally go. You start at the bottom and work your way up. He can provide a roadmap, at least part way up the chain here, and I think that is what might well have been devastating about his interviews with the FBI.
Let me just try and simplify this. I'm just reading from the piece we have at foxnews.com, all right? The lack of any official State Department emails raises the question whether or not Pagliano limited his email traffic with a private account, much like Hillary Clinton did during her tenure as years as Secretary of State, and whether or not his government emails were deleted. If that's the case, that's a problem.
Well, if the emails were deleted, which is another possible explanation, then you're verging on obstruction of justice and destruction of evidence, which is something that has dogged the Clinton account of this for a long time. So I think there are a variety of explanations, which, of course, we don't know on the outside. None of them are good for Pagliano, and I think, frankly, none of them are good for Hillary Clinton.
Unless he's cooperating. What does this suggest about how far along this investigation has come, or perhaps how much further it needs to go?
Well, I don't think you can draw any conclusions from this particular episode, since the court filing we're talking about was in a separate, unrelated proceeding, unrelated to the FBI investigation. Now, of course, the FBI knows whether it has any of Pagliano's emails from other sources. That's not something we know. And I think this is a significant point. We have not seen the FBI leaking terribly much about the Clinton investigation, which says to me they are minding their P's and Q's, following the book, whatever cliche you want, so that nobody can ever say they were the ones who impaired the investigation. I think there's a ways to go yet.
Well, thank you, John Bolton. In Chicago this morning, sir. We'll see you again in person very soon.